Hello, and thank you for tuning in. I'm recording this video in March 2025, and as we wrap up Women's History Month, I want to continue to pay homage to the Black women who broke racial and gender boundaries in the 1950s by integrating professional wrestling. I made a documentary about these amazing women called Lady Wrestler, and the image that's on the screen right now is a photo from an interview shoot that was used in the documentary. The interview shoot took place in 2006 and features Ethel Johnson, who is in the center of the photo. The photo was taken by the late Willie Jennings, an African American photographer who photographed many award shows, concerts, and numerous other events, and was a good friend of mine. Willie and I worked together at African American newspapers like the Call Post and the Columbus Post in the 1990s and the 2000s. I love this candid photo of Miss Johnson, who is pictured with her daughters and her niece, whose faces you can't really see, and also my friends Paul Hill and April Martin, who ran camera and sound during the interview shoot. Ms. Johnson was the first Black female world wrestling champion, and she traveled the world taking on opponents both male and female, black and white, in the 1950s and 60s. Ms. Johnson rose to fame alongside her equally talented sisters, Babs Wingo and Marva Scott. In February of this year, I posted a video to this channel celebrating these women that was broadcast by WBNS, the CBS affiliate in my city, Columbus, Ohio. It's important to note that Columbus was the birthplace of women's wrestling, where notorious promoter Billy Wolf established his women's wrestling enterprise in the 1930s. If you want to learn more about Billy Wolf and his wife, Mildred Burke, who reigned as the first women's world wrestling champion from the 1930s through the 1950s, go see the new movie Queen of the Ring, which came out in theaters on March 7th, 2025. For the remainder of this video, I'd like to share the full-length version of the WBNS news report about the Black women wrestling trailblazers. The previous video from WBNS that I posted in February was an abbreviated version of the news report, and it was recorded on my cell phone, so the quality really wasn't the best. Thanks to the generosity of a friend and colleague, I was able to get an original version of the WBNS news report from February 2025 that aired in observance of Black History Month. So what follows is the original uncut version of that video, and it also features narration by legendary newscaster Jerry Revish. The cool thing about this news report is it features an interview with another of the legendary lady wrestlers, Ramona Isbell. Ms. Isbell is featured in the Lady Wrestler documentary, which is available to watch on Prime Video. Without further delay, here's the WBNS news report on the Lady Wrestlers. As always, thank you for watching. And if you like this video, please give it a like, leave a comment, and share it with anyone you think who would be interested. Doing any or all of those things will help the video reach more people and will bring more awareness to this important chapter of Black history, women's history, American history, and history in general, and shine a light on the accomplishments of these amazing women.
During the month of February, 10 TV is honoring Black History Month, featuring stories of the Black community that shape and preserve history to this day. This morning, we're honoring 3 women who broke the color barrier in wrestling. You have to take a look at these women. Columbus natives Babs Wingo, Ethel Johnson, and Marva Scott were serious athletes. In the 1950s, they joined a professional women's wrestling team in Columbus. It was the first team to ever include Black women. They wrestled in rings around the world, cheered by fans and overseas, jeered at home. Chris Bournet is a filmmaker from Columbus. He released a documentary back in 2018 about these women who he says paved the way for other athletes.
I would say there'd be no Venus and Serena if there wasn't an Ethel and a Babs and a Marva.
Babs, Ethel, and Marva were inducted to the Women's Wrestling Hall of Fame in March of 2024.
Awesome. He's naming some big names there, too.
Quite a story,
they paved
yes.
the way.
Absolutely.
Incredible.
They were bathing beauty glamorous, athletes in high heels and perfect hairdos. But when they climbed into the ring to grapple, as they called it back then, they were all fire and fury.
It was anything goes. It was the black women wrestling each other. It was black women wrestling white women and women of other races. It was women wrestling men.
Columbus natives Babs Wingo, Ethel Johnson, and Marva Scott broke the color barrier in professional women's wrestling in the 1950s.
I would say there'd be no Venus and Serena if there wasn't an Ethel and a Babs and a Marva.
Columbus filmmaker Chris Bournet has turned their story into a documentary that'll premiere at the Wexner Center for the Arts later this month. It's the story of how wrestling promoter Billy Wolf and Al Haft set up shop in Columbus to build a team of lady grapplers that included African-American women for the very first time.
These women were real athletes. Billy Wolf had this formula that he developed called sex, muscles, and diamonds. Sex had to be sex appeal, muscles, you had to be a true athlete, and then diamonds was you had to look like a Hollywood starlet when you were outside of the ring.
How often did you go out on the road?
Oh, let's see here. I would go on the road. Sometimes we would be gone a whole month. And sometimes we would go maybe like a week here and a week there.
79-year-old Ramona Isbell remembers her days in the ring with mixed emotions.
The pay was okay, and it was great in some areas. In some areas it was lousy.
She was able to see the world while performing in wrestling matches in Japan, Australia, Africa. Black female wrestlers were highly regarded by the fans overseas, but often jeered and slighted when performing back home in America's South.
And they'd have to go in the back doors of restaurants. You know, if they were walking down the sidewalk and a white person approached them, they'd have to step into the street, you know, to show deference because of, you know, the Jim Crow at the time.
When we're on the road in the South, we stayed at people's homes. And if I'm traveling on the road and with the guys, then they would go in and bring out the food because I couldn't go in unless I went to the kitchen.
Sometimes they'd perform before huge crowds where black fans couldn't even buy tickets. But just like Jackie Robinson was integrating Major League Baseball, they felt they were doing the same for lady wrestling.
The wrestling industry has amnesia about this chapter of history when these black women were out there risking their lives, you know, going to dangerous places in the South, you know, having to deal with the Ku Klux Klan, on top of the sexism that the white women had to deal with.
It's a forgotten chapter, says Chris Bournet. There were no black lady wrestlers in the Wrestling Hall of Fame. But he says the exploits these women did can never be erased. And for Ramona Isbell and for those who went before her, it was a special time they'll never forget.
Well, I got to do what I wanted to do. I really did. I got to wrestle like I wanted to, and I got to travel like I wanted to. And I give God the glory that I came back safe and sound and raised my children. And, you know, that was really a big, fat blessing.
If you like this video, please leave a comment, share it, and subscribe to my channel.